I started with beers. Yeah. Then my tolerance levels increased. So I moved from beers to hard liquor. And I stuck with hard liquor and cigarettes for almost 20 years.
What?
Yeah, almost 20 years. By the time I was being taken to rehab the first time, my dad collected 800 bottles that I had consumed in a span of 6 months.
Did you listen to the Hot Breakfast this morning?
Here's what you missed. 20 years, she was an alcoholic, and she admits it. Went through hell and back, literally. And there's a video that was done of her, I think, a couple of weeks ago, about a week or so ago. Last week, huh?
Yeah.
It's gone viral.
It's gone viral. It's big. I think it's the biggest thing I've done this year.
And what was it about?
It's about my life and my struggle with alcoholism. And so I want to thank the one who did this video, because he's been my biggest fan. His name is Justice Nandwa. Special Moments with Justice. He's really covered this story and he's really pushed it very far. And it has gotten me a lot of views and calls, and it's almost overwhelming.
What's it called, and where can people see it?
You can see it on YouTube. You go to Special Moments with Justice, and it's also on TikTok, Special Moments with Justice. Yeah. So it's everywhere. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, it started when you were 19 years old?
Yes, it started when I was 19. It started like a joke. But you see, these things that we start as jokes are the ones that end up becoming something else. And for me, I think I was an alcoholic from the beginning, because I was not those people who just go and have one drink or two drinks and go home. Me to drink properly until my body gives way. So
was it wine? Was it
I started with beers. Yeah. Then my tolerance levels increased. So I moved from beers to hard liquor. And I stuck with hard liquor and cigarettes for almost 20 years.
What?
Yeah, almost 20 years. I know it. I don't look it.
No.
I know.
No. And were you in denial all this time? I mean, did you know? Would you black out and find yourself in strange places? I mean, how bad did it get?
At some point, I knew I had a problem, but my dad is the one who realized it first. And then also my friends used to tell me that I drink very quickly. I don't know, drinking quickly was a problem, and it was, a sign of addiction. So I did so many crazy things. I've blacked out, yes. I've done silly things, sold everything in my house, including my house doors. And I think that's the part that catches people, Jeff.
Your house What do you mean you sold your house door?
The Shylock. I used to sell my stuff to the Shylock.
Right.
There was this Shylock, and he's my friend on Facebook now, imagine. Imagine. So, one time after I've sold everything, and he has brought for me a 750 ml of Smirnoff, and we are seated on the floor in my house as he's asking me what's wrong with me. I told him, I'm selling my things because I'm going to Dubai. So, on his way out, he looked at my doors and said, "Hey, Kari, you have very nice doors." And that's it. And the guy left. So now when I've reached rock bottom and there's almost nothing else to sell, I remembered this guy. He's called Aaron. So I sent him a please call me. And he came. And I told my house was very nice. 3-bedroom house, own compound. I told him, open up all these doors. Funguanisha zote.
No chukue.
And no chukue. And he took them for 500 bob.
No.
He took them for 500 bob. And that 500 bob, I went and bought my two nusus and my cigarettes, and my daughter had a diaper. And the rest is history.
My goodness. So you had no doors?
I had no doors. So one time my dad just walks into the house because there's no door to
knock.
He just walks in and finds a drunk girl, and he asks me, "Were you auctioned?" I told him I was not auctioned, but now because I have alcohol in my system, it was very easy for me to have this conversation. And then that's when he realized how badly this thing had become, because even the windows in my bedroom, in my house, I had covered all of them. The mirrors, I didn't want to look at myself. I'd lost so much weight. I'd become so tiny, so ugly. And that's the thing with addiction. You know it. You know that you're addicted. You start running away from people. You start hiding from people. I've been blessed. I've gone to very good schools. I've worked even here. I've worked at Royal Media back in 2006. This is the only place I ever got fired. I've worked even internationally. I've worked with CNBC Africa. So I've been to good places. But there's a thing about alcoholism that drains you as a human being, and it belittles you. So even when you see many of these people who sleep on the streets or are always staggering or, they have peed on themselves or whatever, I can assure you many of them come from very good families. Very good families. But we are dealing with a lot of it now, especially women. Women are really struggling, but they're not talking about it.
And they're drinking a lot.
And they're drinking a lot. It's still the elephant in the room because it has been stigmatized just the way HIV and AIDS was stigmatized back in the 90s. In my video, I share how I went to a girls' school and I discovered these girls are soaking tampons in vodka and then they wear. So when you go to class, your teacher can see there's something off, but they can't tell. But that is what people are doing nowadays in schools. That is where we are.
Soaking tampons in alcohol.
Yeah.
And then inserting.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, that's where we are. I mentioned it on my video. Someone on YouTube came and talked so badly about it until people started coming out and saying, yes, they've seen it in Switzerland. They have seen it in, I don't know, was it Russia or some other country? So it's happening. It's happening. And the problem, Jeff, is that alcoholism is rising at a very worrying rate, especially amongst the youth, but not much is being done about it. So that's why I came out and spoke about my story, because I've struggled with it. I've been to rehab twice. I mean, I almost lost my children because of alcoholism, and being a single parent and you're an alcoholic, it doesn't work very well. So I almost lost my children, and I've lost good jobs, probably good relationships, and yeah. But I said that probably this was my calling in life, to come and share my story, because I've had the privilege of doing it, and the following I get is impressive, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Tell me something. When did it reach rock bottom?
Rock bottom completely was when I sold everything in my house. Then I went to rehab. I came out. 2019, again, I relapsed. I was supposed to travel to the US. I'd been invited to go and speak. Then that's when I think COVID checked in, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, I realized I'd had a mental relapse from before. So the next thing I knew is just walking into a wines and spirits and buying a 750 ml and coming to sit in my house. And my son picked it up. He noticed it. Then the next thing I knew, my dad noticed it. So this time I checked into rehab involuntarily. The first time I went voluntarily. But I realized that was really not the true rock bottom, because had somebody given me an opportunity, maybe a work opportunity, I would have taken it. But this time in 2019, I knew things were bad. I never thought I would relapse, but I did. And so, yeah, it's been a journey and a half. But I'm thankful because at least some people are changing. I see the reactions I keep getting, which is good. Now I'm just hoping for funding to grow my initiative so that I can be able to reach out, because as we head towards the holidays, I assure you it will become worse. Yeah.
And a lot of people, like you say, are in denial.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
They don't.
A lot of people are in denial. A lot of people also know they have a problem, they are struggling, but they choose to call themselves functional alcoholics. But that's how it starts. I mean, you start drinking on Friday, then it moves to Saturday, then it moves to Sunday, then it moves to Wednesday, because I'm sitting, let me sit in a pub waiting for the traffic to go down. But the traffic went down at 8 o'clock, but 9 o'clock, you're still in the pub. You used to take 2-3 beers. Now you've moved up to 6 beers because of your tolerance levels. You can no longer get high on the 3 beers that you were taking before. So you have to, you top up. And that's how addiction begins. Addiction is not a difficult thing to understand, by the way. There's also something we call the CAGE test, CAGE. That's how you know if you're addicted. C, have you tried to cut down and you've been unable? A stands for angry. Have you been angry at yourself, or have people been angry with you because of how you drink? G stands for guilt. Every time you open a bottle, you feel guilty, or after you've finished indulging, you feel guilty. And E stands for eye opener, or in short, kutoa lock. Do you have to kutoa lock in the morning because of how much you drank the night before? If you answered yes to any of the above, then you're either in addiction or you're heading there very fast.
What should people do if they answer yes to any of the above? What should they do? I mean, you volunteered yourself. You checked into rehab.
Yeah. People should always go for therapy. Therapy is important. People say therapy is very expensive, but that is what is needed now, because the way things are, I'm the one on the ground, I can see. You're also an influential person. You can see the people, maybe your friends even, are caught up in this thing. This thing is bigger than we can imagine. And yet government institutions, which I will not name, that are supposed to be playing a big role in doing something to help curb this menace of alcoholism, are not doing much. So it's taken people like me, but you see, I'm only a one-man show. I can't do this thing on my own. I need people to come on board so that we can push this agenda forward in every way that we can. Printing material. I recently wrote my first book, Still I Rise, where I talk about my story and my journey with alcoholism and other life-controlling issues such as depression. And I can see the feedback is there. But we need many to come out and speak about this and share about it. It's important.
Yeah. Do you ever feel the need, the urge to have a drink,
that one will never go. I think it will go the day I die.
Really?
Yeah. That's why we say when we are in recovery for life, alcoholism is manageable, but it's not curable.
So what do you do when you get the urge, when you get that need, when you get, you can't stand?
I talk to people like you. I'm also a believer. I do a lot of church stuff. And I hang out with people. I've learned to keep myself busy because when I'm idle is when I get the urge to drink. Yeah.
So what advice do you give to young ladies out there, especially young ladies who think it's cool, it's cool to drink, it's cool to do these things? Young ladies, in fact, are in a lot of trouble because we are in our reproductive years. There's something called the alcoholic seed. If you've been drinking for a prolonged period of time and you choose to get a baby, that baby will be born with a problem. Could be something like fetal alcohol syndrome, where the baby is premature and they never really mature properly, even when they grow up. You could also suffer from miscarriages. I've had 2 miscarriages back to back because of my drinking. I was unable to stop. As much as I knew I was pregnant, I was unable to stop drinking. So it became so bad that even I stuck with a bleeding fetus for almost a whole month because I didn't have money. I had money to drink, but I didn't have money to get it out. Right.
So my advice to young girls is, please, for goodness sake, you're in your reproductive years. Choose how to live your life. Choose to live wisely. Because later on in life, you will choose to have a family. And there's no man who wants to marry an alcoholic woman. Let's start there. And there's no child who'd wish to be born by an alcoholic. And if you're a woman and you're struggling right now, is the time to come out and get help. Help is still available.
And look, there's a lot of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Right? You find a lot of people, say, "Oh, you think you're better than us, so that's why you're not drinking." A lot of peer pressure. What do you tell people who are being, I guess, convinced or being pushed into this?
Getting in is easy. Getting out is hard. I feel nothing for peer pressure. I know what peer pressure has done to me in the past. And so I always tell people, you have to have a skeleton. You have to have, your no is enough, by the way. And you don't have to explain why. No is a complete sentence on its own, And changing of your mindset. And if it means changing your friends, then that is also important. Because the things that make people get into any sort of addiction are people, places, and things. We call them the PPT. So if you're finding yourself, you're struggling with any of the above, maybe it's time to change your mindset and relook your life. Relook your life, by the way. It's so important. Yeah, because some of these people you're drinking with, the day you die, they'll come bury you and that story moves on. And the story is over. And they get other friends, but you died because of liver cirrhosis or drinking, drunk driving, or just some nonsense that has made you get stuck in that problem. So it's important to change the kind of people you work with. Very important.
When you see young people on social media taking videos of themselves and, events, drinking uncontrollably, and they think it's cool, huh?
Yeah.
They think it's cool.
I was there, so I know. I look at them and I feel sorry because I'm like, these guys don't know down the road they're going down. They have no idea what they're doing. But that's why, for me, I reach out to those who I can, but I always tell people it is important to know yourself. Know yourself, know what you stand for, know your values. And then some of these people, you honestly don't need them. You don't need them at all. Yeah, so changing of friends is important. You might not be able to change where you live, but you can change your friends. Yeah.
What do your parents think of what you've done now? What does your dad say now?
I think my mom thinks I'm like a cat. I have 9 lives. Because anyway, me, I'm a product of grace. That's all I can say. I'm a product of grace because I honestly should not be here. I honestly should not be here. There are people I used to drink with and they're no longer here. Some of the people who introduced me to some of these things like marijuana, I did marijuana when I was in Eastern Asia. he's not here anymore. He died because of drinking. And these are people who have died prematurely in their 30s, because of alcohol-related issues. So me, I'm a product of grace. And that's why I'm proud to be here to tell people that it's possible to change. Me, I'm telling you, people had washed their hands off me. One of my sisters had even seen the dress she was going to wear to my funeral and where I was going to be buried. You see?
What?
So me, I've come from far. I've come from very far. And I'm going very far. So to anybody who is feeling like they've given up, I can assure you, me, if I'm alive today, but by the mercies of God, you can change around. You can change. It's not easy. For some people, they don't change all at once. It's progressive also because you got into it progressively. So coming out might also be a progressive, a progressive journey. Yeah. But don't beat yourself up too badly. Just keep trying every day. Dust yourself off and start again. Because each day, you've been given a new day. So each day, wake up, look at yourself in the mirror, take a shower, go do something else apart from drinking. It is possible.
And those who have given up basically with life, and there are those who feel so hopeless and helpless.
And now Jeff, if you've reached a point where you're feeling hopeless and helpless, the only one who can help you is yourself. Even God himself cannot come and help you unless you reach out to him. Like I said, it's your mindset. Your mindset is your game changer. Your mindset is your game changer. Involve yourself with people who the kind of people who you'd wish to be. Those are the kind of people you should hang around. There was a time I got so depressed because alcoholism comes with depression. Because alcohol is a depressant. I started watching these motivational videos, just listening to something nice in the morning. When the weather is nice, taking a walk, it's so refreshing. It clears your mind. You start thinking normally like a normal person. But if you're just there, me, myself, and I, you will die in that me, myself, and I. And nobody can help you. People will come to your funeral, bury you. Case closed. Done deal.
Yeah. Life goes on.
And life goes on. Finished.
Again, if people want to watch this video, tell us where to get it.
They can go onto YouTube. Shared Moments with Justice.
Shared Moments with Justice.
He's doing a great job, this guy. You should also interview him at some point.
Really?
He has a very big following. Also on TikTok, plus on my social media pages, Caroline Kagia Wellness Initiative. Anywhere Caroline Kagia is, that video is.
Caroline Kagia, what a story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
And keep doing what you do.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you do.
Thank you very much.
Well done. This is no doubt what we call
a story a day. Only on Hot.